Welcome back to the Curious Yapper. I'm Madison, your host and favorite yapper, and it has been another whirlwind since I last saw you. I have been in multiple states. I've been in Texas, went to California, and so just lots of stories to catch you up on. So a week ago, last Monday, I got to see all of the people from the Texas office. It was just a blast to share some hugs, share some smiles and laughs with everybody. I know one thing I have mentioned on the Curious Yapper is my search for community. And it was so lovely to just walk into a place and to already be so loved and appreciated without having to go through all the motions to earn it again. So it was just really special to get to see all the people who I have made relationships with at work. And I think it's so cool that I have connections and care about people outside of work. So that's really special. And on lunch on Monday, made sure to get all of the foods that I have missed. So got myself some more queso, went to Torchy's, had a lovely taco, and again, got to share some queso, got to share some laughs. I love lunch. And then that evening, Texas decided to do wild stuff with the weather again. And there was some tornado watches, warnings. As a born Texan, I don't remember the difference between the two. All I can think of in my mind is, I think watch is when people said that the tortilla ingredients are made, and then a warning is just like, hey, you got some ingredients for a taco, but it's not a taco yet. Could be totally wrong on that. Anyways, so because Texas was trying to do Texas weather, some of my plans to connect with old friends didn't pan out as we thought, but we pivoted, got to see a friend through FaceTime, which was just a delight. Again, thinking about all that community and the relationships that I just so dearly crave and miss. I got to fill my cup in that way in Texas, so that was lovely. Got to see another friend that evening, got myself a little scoop of ice cream from Brahms, missed that as well, so that was really fun. Then the next day, got another delicious lunch, which I'm all for food, so got another delicious lunch, got to hang out with colleagues again, and it was just delightful. And what is really funny in true Madison fashion is we decided to do a little work happy hour after hours, and I was like, oh, I know this really great place, and I had invited a couple different teams. The place was not open as I thought it would be, so that was really funny. And so we're just chilling by this table because it wasn't actually open on time. I have no idea if anyone else tried to come and they just didn't have my number, and we're just like, where's all the people? I so hope that didn't happen. I have fingers crossed we got all the people who are actually trying to be there, because can you imagine someone inviting you to something and you don't? Like, we invited new people to the team. Can you imagine being invited? I literally went out of my way to invite people, like, hey, can't wait to see you, please come, whatever. And then you go and you're brave. Like, I'm just thinking of myself. Someone would do this to me, go to a happy hour, and then I show up and no one's there. Like, oh my gosh, fingers crossed. Just maybe we caught everybody that was planning to go anyways, but that made me laugh and felt pretty Madison because I didn't really check all of those details, even though I usually research. So anyways, that was funny on Tuesday. Then got to have another lovely meal with one of my really great friends and got to hear all about what she's going through as well, and had a delicious burger. I missed my little bodacious burger and sweet potato fries. And of course, we had to go support small businesses, small Black woman owned. Go to Cookie Society. They've got locations in Frisco and I believe South Lake. So if you're in DFW, Cookie Society is where it's at. And we were talking to a random person in line for one of the flavors, and he was like, oh, this is my favorite. I eat this flavor and in bed watching Golden Girls. And we were like, okay, yes, getting that cookie. That wasn't the cookie for us. But anyways, it was a delightful evening. And then the next day is Wednesday, and had another delicious lunch because that's what it's about. And also got to just chat with people and meet some people at work for the first time that I've been working with virtually for a couple months. So that was just a delight. And yeah, it was a really great trip. Got to catch up with people, got to see family, celebrate stuff. And then Wednesday was when we flew out. And what was funny is I once again forgot to check in on time. I don't know what's happening upstairs to my big brain, but Evan had to remind me again to check in. And then of course I still didn't know my password again. And so I'm just hot mess express over here, okay? Anyways, lucky for me, I did not get stuck with middle seats. So I got an aisle seat, baby. It was in the very last row. Sure darn tootin' was. So I was right by those bathrooms. Woo woo. And so that was its own funny thing. And for some reason, I was kind of like fidgety and just wouldn't sit still on this flight. And I don't know what that was completely about. Anyways, we also, I don't know about you guys, when I go to the airport, I'm always too early. Always. Like, why would I rush and have anxiety that way? Let's just have anxiety, 2 hours before the gate, even boards. So much so that the gate changed a couple times. And so we changed terminals. So Evan and I were scooting on through with the Skylink. It was my first time ever doing that because I've had gates change, but I've never had the terminal change. So that was funny. And we rocked and rolled trying to get to our terminal. And Terminal C at DFW is not it, you guys. That seems like, I think it's under construction because it's not cute. It is not it. It's not the vibe. Anyways, flight was great and we found our car, got home really late, started loads of laundry and crashed out. It was so nice to sleep in your own bed with your own pillow and all that stuff. So delightful. Then, as if that wasn't enough excitement and an activity for one day, or 1 week, honestly. Then Thursday, we headed on vacation to the Redwoods. So we went down the 101 and got to see the scenic highway. It was a perfect day and we got to see the ocean. It was just gorgeous. So that was on Thursday. And then we stopped for lunch. Evan found this cafe. They had delicious cinnamon roll. I'm very picky and snobby when it comes to baked goods. I have a mom who, I'm going to sneeze, who makes everything from scratch. So in my mind, baked goods should always be made from scratch. And hot take, if you cut corners and don't do from scratch, I'm like, no. Now, does that lead me to making a bunch of from scratch baked goods frequently? Sure does not. But when I do make something, it is good. In high school, I was known for making cookies. People were like, oh, those are your cookies. And yes, teachers knew, kids knew, everybody knew my cookies. And then I married Evan and we have different cookies, and now Evan is the cookie maker, which is awesome sauce. Anyways, long tangent, but baked goods, I'm very picky, snobby about them because I think they should be made from scratch, especially when it comes to cinnamon rolls, because my cinnamon rolls are some of the best cinnamon rolls ever. And I do not like when your baked goods, cinnamon rolls specifically, are like bready. It needs to be like doughy, yeasty, delicious. And I'm very picky. Anyways, these cinnamon rolls, long story, were really good. So that was pretty cool and got to have that. Then we arrived in California. I'm gonna sneeze now. Wow, got my mom's sneeze. Anyways, so road trip was great. Weather was great. No edit. I am not editing. My phone barely even has storage. Anywho, so Thursday was great. Travel was great. Make it to the Airbnb. And we actually had beach access. So cool. So we walked down to the beach, strolled for a little bit, and then caught the sunset. Barely. That was another hot story. We tried to go grab a quick Taco Bell. Everyone and their mother apparently was trying to get Taco Bell that night. Pivoted and went to Burger King. They forgot about us. It was a hot mess. So we saw the sunset literally go below the horizon. Wild. Then it's Friday. This is the day that I'm here for. I had seen it on TikTok. That's the entire reason we're going on this trip. So we went on a hike, and red flag about me is when I am traveling, I'm always wanting to be up early. I don't know what it is about me. I'm like, oh, we got to beat all the crowds. So we're up. We beat all the crowds. We're the only ones there. We show up to the redwoods, and we see an elk in this marsh field before our hike. And then that's when Evan decides to tell me, do you have your keys? We should probably make some noise. This is bear and elk and mountain lion country. We saw signs everywhere. And I was like, I don't have stuff to make noise. I packed light. And he's like, okay. So then he grabbed a stick and occasionally was beating on his water bottle to make us obvious and noise. And I'm like, are we safe? I have no idea. Anyways, so this was going to be the biggest hike that I have ever done. It's supposed to be like 11.5 miles. And we went through old growth where you saw all the big redwoods. It took us through a stint on the beach that was a mile. Have you ever tried to walk on the beach with a purpose? Because a lot of people glamorize walking on the beach as, oh, so romantic. Walking on the beach is hard, okay? The sand be sanding. It has resistance. And that was the hardest mile of the darn hike. And I was like, here I come, trying to find sand that looked wet so that it was more compact. No, I'm just sinking. That was wild. So anyways, it was glorious, of course, but you are not making time on a beach. This is a very slow mile, and it burns your legs, burns everything. Anywho's, so we're on the beach for a mile. Then it took us through the fern. It's like the Jurassic Park thing. I don't remember what it's called. Fern Meadows? Everyone's gonna yell. They know what I'm talking about. Anyways, the fern wall was beautiful. And they tell you that you should pack shoes because, like water shoes, because it could be like quarter inch, could be longer. We were sloshing through the water there. Yeah, Evan was soaked. I have hiking boots that are waterproof resistant, and I was good all until the end, and then I stepped in a thing and everything was wet, and I was like, yeah, okay. Anyway, so we get through, it's called Fern Meadow. I don't know. We get through the fern thing, and I'm still like, okay, I can do this. We're like 8 miles or something, and I was like, awesome. Here we go. I'm more than halfway through. We've got this, And then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, a couple miles later, I'm like, Evan, how much longer? And he's like, so I think All Trails lied. And I was like, come again? He's like, yeah, I think All Trails lied. Okay, well, I was ready for 11.5 miles. Turns into 14 miles. We did over a half marathon of a hike. And it was fun for 11 miles. But those last 3 weren't honestly that fun. And then we were wet. Luckily, Evan brought a bunch of socks, so I got to change socks, got to have a snack, got to have some water, sat on a tree to make it through. But I was like, I'm losing my funness. This is not as fun. Anyways, so we're towards the end of the hike. It's getting close to mile 14. Then we see this sign that says big tree this way. And Evan and I are like, big tree, we'll be there. So then we're walking on and we're like, oh my gosh, this could add like a whole nother mile there and a whole nother mile back. And at that time, then you're 16 miles. And I was like, ah. Anyways, so we're walking. We weren't sure how far Big Tree was going to be. So then we saw 3 people on a tree and they were just like chilling at the tree. And I was like, is this Big Tree? And they were like, ha, this is a big tree, but this is not Big Tree. And I was like, do you know how long it is to get to Big Tree? Because Madison came all the way to Redwoods. I'm gonna see a big tree, you guys. So then they said, you know what? It's that way and that way. Haven't actually been before, but I think you can drive your car to. And I was like, bet, say less. We are turning this around, finishing this trail. So we did, and then went through the gift shop, and now more people are there. See, pays to be early. Anywho's, 14 miles later, we are in the car. I took some pain pills. I was like, I'm not gonna be hurting. I was hurting later. My feet, oh, they were hurting. Anywho's, then we get back to the Airbnb. We had to eat. We ate. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Then we got back to the Airbnb, showered, all that stuff. Then we went to a pub and it was delicious. Got a great sandwich. So I'm here for that for sure. And then we got to see the sunset for real this time. Actually timed it well where we're sitting on the beach and just another nice little walk. Evan got a great video. So it was delightful. Then while we were in town, you're not going to believe this, but this flower girl, this lovely flower girl, we saw the sign that says Azalea Festival. And I was like, no way, Evan, there's a flower festival while we're here? Say less. So then we're like, okay, let's go. It says like it's at this park. So we go to the park and I was like, no way is this just a softball field. It was just like a recreation field. We're like, what is this festival? Where are the flowers? Anyways, we go back to the Airbnb, hang out. That's pretty much the rest of our day there. Oh, forgot to tell you guys, we saw a sea lion in the water on our little beach den. Sea lion, we saw elk, and we did not see a bear. That's okay with me. Anyways, it was a delightful day at the Redwoods. Then the next day, again, Madison's red flag. It's early, it's vacation, we gotta get up early. Don't wanna be with crowds. We gotta see Big Tree. I literally wake us up early. I think we're out the door again at 5:30, 5:45. Ooh, red flag. Anyways, so we get to Big Tree, you guys. Beat all the crowd.